Hey there, it's GerbSims, and today we're building part 2 of a terrarium. So if you were with us in my last video, I built a little terrarium room, and it's really cute, so if you haven't checked it out, you should definitely look at it. But part 2 of that is I'm building a terrarium for your sim to live in. Well, this one specifically is for like a fairy or like a nymph or something. Because who else is living in a terrarium? So the sim that's going to live in here is a spellcaster dressed like a fairy, and you'll see that sim shortly. This speed build is going to go very fast because this build took me 12 to 13 hours to do, and I have to put that really fast. So I do slow down a couple of more important parts, but otherwise just going to show you kind of a gloss over of what my technique was. And the first thing I wanted to do was pull out everything that I could find, and you see in the picture above what the terrarium looked like, and I wanted it to look similar to that. And so I pulled out things that matched the overall kind of profile of the terrarium. Like I have those 2 big logs in the middle and the rock placement, and then that waterfall in the upper left corner, as well as these crystals. So you can see those lights on the second floor. It is really obnoxious because even with all of these windows, I'm still getting indoor lighting on the different things that you're seeing here, and so I needed to fix that lighting problem, and I end up coming up with a better solution later. So the reason I'm kind of scooting past a lot of these things is because I end up replacing all of these objects on a different lot. So this is really just me getting out the specific objects I want, and then I'm going to place them again on the lot that is bigger because the proportions of this lot just didn't match the original terrarium. So I'm making kind of a bath area, and I'm playtesting it. This build is playtested in the new orientation, and I think it's actually really fun to play in. There's a lot of, it's a fully functioning home, even though it's all windows. I did slow down this portion here of the kitchen, which moves, because I made this glorious little bug jar, which I'm obsessed with. And I found the dragonfly in the game and these little like nymph sprites, I think, or they're just sprites, I guess. And so I used the same technique as I used in the terrarium build. I brought out the spirits, the creatures that I wanted, and then I sized down their actual terrarium. So there's a really cool little moment that I'll show you at the end with that little dragonfly. Chad just wasn't doing it. Initially I had called him Chad Farrington, and that was fun, but his look just wasn't great. So I changed him to a female sim, and I end up naming her Chelsea Farrington, and I'll put her up in the gallery so you can play her in this lot if you'd like. She's kind of like a dark fairy, so you can see all of her different outfits, and she really just works those fairy wings. And when she sleeps and works out, I think she doesn't wear them. And so here we are on the new bigger lot, and I'm taking everything out, lightening the floor, just really just saying, hey, that was, I tried. And so now I'm kind of reorienting the build and moving things farther apart, because the other thing is there really wasn't space for her to walk, because some debug objects don't have any footprint, but some of them have a huge footprint, specifically these big tree stumps, and that was so frustrating. So I'm adding detail to this stepped waterfall, which is why I chose the specific table that I put in the back left of the terrarium, the original build. So you can see why I chose that kind of graduated type of table, was because I was planning on using this. It looks great in the corner. It looks great in live mode. It's just beautiful, and your sim can in fact swim in it. It's functional, which is really cool. You got stairs going up to it to make it accessible, and now I'm just trying to kind of brighten up this terrarium. It's a terrarium, so it should be beautiful and bright and floral, so I end up bringing back a lot of the things that I had in the smaller build, and I'm replacing them, and even more flowers are going to come in. Oh my God, this tree stump thing is, I moved it like 1,000 times. Oh my God, that snail, so cute. So that was one of the things that was difficult. I had to build the bugs from the terrarium without being able to size up the actual bugs. Oh, I love that little toilet paper pose too. You have to go to the bathroom in that bush because it's just right. And I sectioned off the little like rooms, I guess you could say, in different ways. So the section between what is the kitchen and what becomes the bathroom is this just kind of section of flowers. And then this is where I moved the kitchen. So I'm just gonna kind of talk you through what I did. So in a kitchen, you only need one counter. You need a sink and an appliance. So I don't end up putting a stove in here. I'm gonna end up putting the cauldron instead, and that's pretty cute. The way that I got this windy effect is I took the island version of these counters and I used tulle to raise them up. And then the way I got this wooden mini fridge was I just placed a mini fridge and then I used cutting boards to go around it. And I covered the top with a planter and it's fully functional. The planter's not, but like, who cares? So I'm dressing up the front of the cabinets. This is one of my favorite things to do to kind of clutter up a build. And since we don't have a wall to clutter behind the backsplash, I just made the fronts of the cabinets a little bit more, give them more character. So I'm just adding the final touches of clutter even behind here because this is kind of a 360 lot. Everything needs to look good from the front and the back. And then here we have the cauldron with the fish hanging over it. It is still functional with those fish. Behind it, I have the entry kind of arch from Eco and then some vertical planters, and that looks really nice behind it. So for scale, I needed to show that this was not a greenhouse, but it was a terrarium sized up because the fairy that lives in it is supposed to be quite small because she's a fairy. So I needed to build books behind it, which isn't necessarily how the original build was, but this just made more sense. So I made different height books. You can only go up 4 stories, so I used the foundations to raise them for different heights. And then I actually decorated them to look like books. I picked colors on the exterior that matched some of the trims so that it didn't look too different. And then ones that I couldn't match, like this one, I just made horizontal stripes on the book so that it would look a little bit more intentional, that the colors didn't match. We need a dining room. We need some geodes. So we placed the, oh my God, Chelsea is on my nerves. Poorly decorated. Are you kidding me? In all of the pictures during the building, she looks like she's like been kidnapped. It's so frustrating. Okay, how am I gonna make butterflies? There's this big butterfly, as you can see, on top of the log in the middle. And I tried so many different things. Guys, I spent like an hour placing jet skis because I thought, okay, this has a cool pattern. And if I kind of like make it into, what are those things where, like a fractal, maybe it'll look good. It didn't. And then I just searched butterfly and realized there's a freaking butterfly toy in the game. It was kind of childish and chunky looking, so I covered up the head and the body of it. And for a while, oh, I also gave it legs by using tulle on a spider, which I'll put the link in the description for tulle. The ladybugs in the corner, luckily we have this ladybug toy, so I put a bunch of them flying around and then I used tulle to change their orientation. They don't move, but they look pretty cute. And it really gives the scale of the build something to kind of hook onto. In the bedroom, we have a lot of kind of like collected clutter, almost like the Little Mermaid. She's collected all of these fun little things. And we also need a dresser, so we're gonna just put that over here. And rugs. Rugs on carpet? Gerb, what are you doing? I am making, it's called interior design, and you should look it up. So now that we are looking at lighting and we're looking at just kind of like little different funky things, I wanted to make a picnic area in the back as well as a seating area in the front. So this little seating area is going to have some knitting tools next to it, so you can, oh, can you imagine like little tiny fairy scarves? I can't. And so I'm putting some little knitting objects out, and then this area in the back, yeah, you can see the bathtub from there, but like maybe that's a romantic date. I don't judge. So over here we have this fountain. I tried to scale down this fountain? Picnic area. I tried to size down this well, but then this man's head just shows up and I did not feel comfortable with that. I wanted to add some kind of supernatural elements to this to imply that it's like a spellcaster or a fairy. So if you size down these specific spooky, what are they called? What's it called? Spooky stuff. The gravestones, they make smoke, which is really cool. So I put that all around, and then I decorated my books. So I gave them each like a different, like a book cover, and then I also decorated the spines of the book so that it looked not just like buildings, but like books. So I used Tool to move around and reorient the posters as well. More things for scale. We have the the snail container, which is funny because there is a snail in there, a big pencil, and then a red desk on the bottom. Gerb, how did you fix the lighting issue? A false window. I knocked out one of the walls and made a spandrel there so that the build now believes it is outside, but then when I put the spandrel there, it thinks it's inside, and then I just moved a window over that space so that it looks like a closed wall, and your sim will feel inside, but the lighting will be outside. Haha, Sims, try and get in my way. Then I decided, I don't know if, there's this TV show on Netflix that you like fight and compete in floral design. I decided to use, because the first episode of that I think is like big bugs, I decided to use that as an inspiration and say, okay, maybe these big butterflies are just installations of big flower installations. And so I covered the butterfly wings with different flowers to make it seem a little bit more natural, and then I changed the head to these like circle heads that we got in Eco. Finally, little finishing touch, a fish tank next to the bed with a dead fish swimming around in it. Same technique as with the bug jar, and that's it. Well, here are the final videos, screenshots, videos, if you will. This is it from high up above so that you can get those proportions. And going inside this build, static images just wouldn't do it. You have to see it moving, you have to see it during the day and at night. And so here is Chelsea Farrington. She's gonna come in, she's gonna make a couple potions. Like I said, she's a spellcaster, fairy, nymph, whatever you want her to be, she's there. And she's gonna show us kind of how it's done and what it looks like in this build. And you're gonna get to see kind of the big butterflies, the key, what would you call it? The focal point of this build, the butterflies and the waterfall. It looks so lovely during the day and at night because it kind of glows at night, which is really cool. I definitely recommend checking it out in that way. And now we're gonna take a look at the living spaces, the first one being the bedroom. It's really simple. There are no walls, so you can't really put too much around it because you have to be able to navigate around it. And so speaking of navigating, we're gonna walk through the woods, through some trees, through some butterflies, and check out the portal to the magic realm. Yes, there is a functioning portal to the magic realm, and I made it kind of special with some romantic garden stuff, archway and flora. This is the bubble area as well as the picnic area. It's kind of secluded, it's kind of sweet over here. I really like this area. And here we are, we're gonna pass by the bath on the right, the toilet in front of you, and right back over to Chelsea, who is still making some potions. And that's gonna take us over to nighttime. Here we are at night. You can see that the build glows. I just like the fountains glow and the crystals glow and all of it. It just looks so, oh man, it's not spooky. It has like a warmth to it. Oh, look at this. You can see this spa. Who would not want to take a mud bath in this terrarium? I think that's my new bucket list, is get a life-size terrarium and blow bubbles and take a mud bath and just live my best spellcaster fairy life. And in case you're wondering, like I said, it is play tested and you can relieve yourself in this here toilet, as well as cook yourself some excellent meals in this beautiful kitchen with that awesome jar of dragonfly. Oh my gosh, it breathes fire. Things in gameplay that builders don't realize. I've learned so much. And here's our it looks like a swamp at night, which is so cool. And we're gonna head back on over to Chelsea, who is knitting. And that's the end. That's the whole thing. There is so much going on in this build that I could not get to in this amount of time. So please check this out in the gallery. You can find it by searching #GerbSims. You can also find me on all of the social medias by searching GerbSims. And if you just have not had enough, which I understand, you can come and join me on Twitch. I stream Sims 3 times a week and mental health and social justice once a week. I hope to see you there. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, turn on that alert bell, and until next time, live your best life and be your best self. Bye!